It was 11:45 p.m. when my phone buzzed, a single text glowing against a dark screen. Just 5 more minutes. At first, I smiled. That was Julia's usual line, whenever she was running late. From work, dinners with friends, or those networking events that had started happening a little too often lately. But that night, something about it didn't sit right. Maybe it was how flat the words looked on the screen. Or maybe it was because she'd promised to be home by 10. I typed back, okay, drive safe. No reply. By midnight. I was still sitting in the living room, the TV flickering softly in the background while my untouched dinner went cold. The quiet pressed down, and my thoughts filled every corner it left empty. I wasn't a suspicious type. I'd always trusted Julia, but lately, little things had started to gnaw at that trust. The late-night showers, the sudden password changes, the faint trace of a perfume that wasn't hers clinging to the car seats. And then there was last week, when she'd come home grinning to herself, cheeks flushed, eyes distant like she was replaying something no one else could hear. I'd asked what was funny. She'd shrug and said, "Oh, just work stuff." I wanted to believe her. God, I really did. But when 5 minutes stretched into an hour, then 2, belief started to feel like denial wearing a mask. At 10:02 a.m., my phone buzzed again. A notification popped up, our shared location app. We'd installed it years ago, back when trust wasn't something that needed proof. She wasn't at work. She wasn't even on her route home. The blink from a quiet neighborhood across town, one I didn't recognize at first. Curiosity has a cruel way of killing reason. I grabbed my keys, my heart pounding in that uneasy space between dread and hope. Maybe she'd had car trouble. Maybe she was visiting a friend. Maybe, and that maybe was the lie I used to hold myself together. 20 minutes later, I pulled into that neighborhood and recognized the street name. It belonged to someone I knew, someone Julia used to work with. And when I saw her car parked neatly outside his house, 5 more minutes suddenly made too much sense. I just sat there for a while, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went pale. The house was mostly dark, except for one upstairs window, soft light glowing through the curtains, warm, intimate. I didn't need more proof. My gut had already whispered the truth long before my heart would let it in. For a moment, I thought about driving away, pretending I hadn't seen anything, pretending it was some awful misunderstanding. But the part of me that had been quietly breaking for months, the part that kept forgiving her distance, her excuses, her coldness, finally gave in. I stepped out of the car and walked to the front door. Every step felt heavier than the last. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Just exhausted. From waiting, from hoping, from being lied to by someone who'd already left me in every way that mattered. I didn't knock. I called her instead, eyes fixed on a window. Seconds later, her phone lit up. I saw the faint glow through the curtains. She didn't answer, so I texted her, "You still need 5 more minutes?" No reply. Then I saw it. Another shadow moving behind the curtain. Bigger, broader. My stomach dropped. The truth hit me hard, stealing the air right out of my chest. She wasn't alone. I stood there for what felt like forever, staring up at that window, the same window that shattered every illusion I'd built about love and loyalty. Then I did something I never thought I would. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found her number, Claire, his wife. We'd met once at a company party years ago. She was kind, unsuspecting, completely unaware that her husband and my wife were sharing more than spreadsheets. When she answered, her voice was groggy, soft. "Hello." I swallowed hard. "Claire, I think you should know where your husband is." Silence, then a sharp inhale. "What do you mean?" I turned my camera toward the window. "Look at the location I'm sending you." A pause. Then her voice trembled. That's our address." "Yeah," I said, my voice unsteady. "And your husband isn't alone." I didn't wait for her response. I hung up, turned, and walked back to my car. The truth didn't need words anymore. It was already destroying everything that had once felt real. By the time I got home, dawn was breaking. The sky was still dark, but that cold gray light had begun to push through, the kind that makes everything look colder, emptier. I sat in the living room again, staring at nothing, every memory replaying like an old film. Her laugh, her touch, her promises, and that one text. Just 5 more minutes. It wasn't the words that broke me. It was how casually she wrote them, like she was asking for more time to finish a drink, not betraying everything we built. An hour later, my phone buzzed again. Her name appeared. I didn't answer. A few minutes later, I can explain. Explain what? That the meetings were lies? That the night she needed space were rehearsals for her next excuse? That while I was home convincing myself she still loved me, she was somewhere else proving she didn't? No, there was nothing left to explain. When she finally walked in, the sun was up. She froze when she saw me awake, surprised, like she'd expected to slip back into a life she'd already abandoned. "Hey," she said softly, forcing a smile. "You're up early." I said nothing, just watched her drop her purse on the couch, like it was any normal morning. Her smile faltered. "What's wrong?" I finally spoke. "Claire called me." Her face drained. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The silence stretched so long, I could hear her heartbeat in it. I told her where her husband was. I added quietly, "You might want to call her before she gets there." Her eyes widened, panic replacing guilt. She grabbed her phone, typing fast, hands shaking. I just stood there, watching her scramble to save what couldn't be saved. When she finally looked up, tears streaked her face. "You ruined everything," she whispered. I almost laughed. "No," I said softly. "You did." She reached for me, but I stepped back. I wasn't angry anymore, just hollow. The kind of emptiness that comes after the storm's taken everything worth keeping. As she cried, I walked past her, picked up my keys, and opened the door. She called my name, but I didn't turn around. Some endings don't come with words, only silence. And that silence was louder than anything she could ever say.